Hey everyone, welcome to Wednesday and to Wednesday Reflection and to my Nicole Kidman 1980s hair. Um, we're going to be talking about the book of occasional services for our reflection today. And why? Why is this a Lenten reflection or a reflection thing? Well, it's more a news update that interests me and less of a spiritual reflection or meditation upon something insightful. Um, it was it was put out on Facebook the other day that a mentor and professor and teacher of mine, the very Reverend Dr. James Terrell, who is currently the dean of the School of Theology, but when I was there, was he was the liturgics professor as well as the academic dean. You can see him right there with the glasses and the green chasuble holding his prayer book. That is Dean Terrell. Again, now he is the dean of the School of Theology, but at the time he was the liturgics professor amongst other things. And under his instruction, I learned all about liturgical history and the history of Christian worship, and then the practical goings on of how liturgies are done and how you, as a minister, perform all of the functions that one would do, so that when you graduate seminary, you can like start doing your job. I think of it as passing your driver's license examination and road test doesn't mean that you are a perfect driver, but it means that you know enough to get started and to continue those skills and that proficiency as you keep going. You are proficient even though you are not an expert. I would say the same thing is true of people who are in seminary, especially on an ordination track, is that once you graduate, you know enough to start. But you also are aware that your whole life is a continual education process. And so many thanks to Dean Terrell for what he gave to me and for his wisdom and for getting to work with him as a work study student, and also for helping me craft and do this amazing independent study with him. We looked at all of the Eucharistic liturgies from the Anglican Communion, around the globe, and kind of compared and contrast, like, why the Anglican Church of Canada's language is this way versus the Anglican Church of Hong Kong versus Canada versus America versus Australia, blah, 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 blah. It was a great course. I'm glad I did it. But enough beaming about Dean Terrell. So Dean Terrell is noted in this article because he is the head of the subcommittee for the Book of Occasional Services. And that's why today we're talking about the Book of Occasional Services. Let me see more. There we go. So the subcommittee members who have made this new 2022 revision for the Book of Occasional Services include Dean Terrell, and as well as these other mentioned people, which you see on your screen. All of these people who are on this subcommittee have Swanee connections. That's why the Swanee Facebook page was touting their accomplishment, as you can see there. But this blurb also talks about how the Book of Occasional Services has these revisions, including the Way of the Cross liturgy, on Maundy Thursday instructions, when members leave a congregation, which is a ritual that you can do, reaffirmation of ordination vows, as well as several liturgies concerning with church planting. But this begs the question, the putting the cart before the horse I am. What is the Book of Occasional Services right there? It is a supplement to our workhorse Book of Common Prayer. The Book of Common Prayer, which we all know and love, is what we use week to week, day to day. as far as the calendar of the lectionary that we use, the feast days, the the daily office scheduled readings, the lectionary, things like that. Well, not the lectionary, but anyway. And it's also got forms for all of our worship services. So it's got baptisms, Eucharists, weddings, funerals, prayers for the sick and the dying, at the time of death, morning prayer, evening prayer, noonday prayer, Compline, different forms, right? 1 and 2 of each of those things that I mentioned. It has a section of historical documents that are important for the history of the church. It's got special kind of independent services like Ash Wednesday, Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, Easter Vigil. And then it's got a list of important special, holy days, All Saints, things like that. This goes into more either mundane, let's say, instances where, let's see, services like a rogation procession, a vigil for the eve of All Saints Day. So that would be like Halloween, the Candlemas procession, the blessing of homes at Epiphany, a service for New Year's Eve. Things that maybe aren't really important enough to justify putting them in here, or just it could be just phases in a person's life that might need something, like a house blessing, or blessing the birth of a child and blessing the mother following that birth. Life events that are certainly important, but maybe aren't as either common enough or as requested enough to merit inclusion in this book. Also, it bears noting that getting a revision of the Book of Common Prayer is at best, once in a generation kind of thing. And so revising the Book of Common Prayer is a major thing. Making an approved collection or publishing a collection of approved services that isn't the Book of Common Prayer is much easier to do. And so anyway, it's a great way to add stuff into the needs and life of the people that also help reflect the times. So, Book of Occasional Services. This is the second edition. Came out in 1988. There have been many revisions since then. In fact, I'm pretty sure they just stopped numbering the editions, and they just sort of say, Book of Occasional Services, parentheses, 2018, which is the book that I'm accustomed to using. But I don't have a copy of it because it's online. It's a PDF. That was such a wise decision by Church Publishing to just make it a PDF. That way, me, the person who's making the bulletins, knows that I can't just assume or take for granted that people are going to turn to page, 473 in the Book of Common Prayer, because I'm pulling a service that's specifically not in that book. I need to pull it and put it in a bulletin so it can be right in front of someone's face. So having a printed Book of Occasional Services is kind of, it's just not smart, because I'm going to have to recreate this anyway, unless I photocopy it. And I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably going to make a good looking bulletin instead. So Church Publishing made it digitally available, and it is amazing. It's so much easier to just cut and paste, and the formatting's already really good. Again, I could just print the PDF if I needed to, but I digress. So right now there is a 2022 revision, and again, my professor Dean Terrell was the subcommittee chair on that. And so I went to go look and see what the PDF for the 2022 BOS is. And it's only available in print right now from Church Publishing, or you can buy it on Amazon. It's $35, which I think is a pretty fair price. But I would really love for I'd really love for that to be a PDF. It's just come out, so I imagine they're trying to generate some book sales first. But as soon as that becomes available in PDF or electronic form, I'm going to be using it all the time. In fact, until it does, I'm probably just going to keep using the 2018 because I don't want to have to buy a physical book. Because again, it makes no sense. I'm just going to need it to copy and paste into a document in the first place. If I need to spend $35 for church publishing to give me a PDF or an electronic copy, I'll buy it right now. But I'm not going to buy a hardback for something I'm going to have to transcribe into a Word document. Anyway, that's a little bit about the things that get me excited. Again, since I don't have the book in front of me, I can't compare and contrast the changes that were made to the 2022 BOS versus the 2018 BOS. But again, it's just fun to know. And I mean, let's just take a look at some of the other things that are included in the Book of Occasional Services. Okay, so here are some pastoral services that might meet the need of a person at any given point in life. Welcoming new people into a congregation. When members leave a congregation, let's say you have a longtime member that moves away and we're very sad to see them go. This would be a wonderful service to do. Or something you could plug into the middle of your Sunday Eucharist. Preparing adults for holy baptism. Concerning the catechumens, a vigil on the eve of a baptism. That could be done at home. Sounds pretty cool. The blessing of a pregnant woman. We talked about that. Preparing parents and godparents for baptism. Adaptations for special circumstances of a baptism. I'm curious to know what that is. Page 158. Let's take a moment and see what adaptations they're talking about. Maybe is it ability? Is it Let's see what kind of adaptations they're talking about. A deferred baptism. In case of young children, parents may, in consultation with the pastor of the congregation, determine to defer baptism until which a child is old enough for... Oh, well, that's just a believer's baptism. Yeah, that's totally fine. You could absolutely do that. Yeah. That's totally fine. Other adaptations. Oh, yeah. This is talking about difficulties during pregnancy and, let's say, a pastoral response to that, which, good on you. Yeah, founding a church for groundbreaking and laying of a cornerstone. Let's see, what are the other ones? Now, there's one in here. Let's see. Is it in this one, or did they add it later? Well, anyway, I can't find it in this one. It probably added later. But there is a service for an exorcism. And that's awesome. And as the rumor goes, or as the saying goes, as the scuttlebutt says, that there is an appointed diocesan exorcist that the bishop knows, because the bishop appointed that person, and they're the only person that know who the diocesan exorcist is. That's what I heard. I've never really heard much talk about it, but I really hope that's true. That's awesome. I really hope that's true, and I really hope they have like a special go kit with holy water and salt and all the stuff. Like I just crucifixes and everything. Anyway, that's my hope, and I hope it's wooden and it has hinges and it has little compartments for everything. And when you open the lid, it's got stuff strapped to it. Like you would think a movie prop, like exorcism kit would have. Anyway, and I hope it's like really old polished wood with like red velvet lining. Yeah. Anyway, or not velvet, but felt. Anyway, oh, and all the things have little custom cutouts to fit the bottles or the crosses or the spoons or the whatever. I don't know. I hope so. I hope there's silver in it. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. All right, this has turned into a long reflection, and I've kind of lost my original comment. But I just wanted to introduce y'all to the Book of Occasional Services. It is available online. If you want to check out the 2018 version that I always use up until now, just search Book of Occasional Services 2018 in Google. And the second thing will be here, I'll show you. There we go. Yeah, so we have the Book of Occasional Services 2018. It'll be the first entry in the Google search, and then you can find the link for the 2022 version as well at churchpublishing.org. That one is a paperback version, but the 2018 is a PDF, and so I commend it to you all. That is where I'm going to end it. I've been talking too long. But anyway, I've really enjoyed getting to express my feelings about the Book of Occasional Services with you. If you do check out the PDF and something strikes your fancy or begs for more explanation, contact me. Put something in the description here. Email me because I love to either answer your question or investigate it with you. I've got lots of really good books that probably tell us much more about whatever questions you or I might have. So please come at me with some questions. All right. Thank you for coming and checking out this Wednesday reflection. Thank you and God bless.